The film begins with a special operations officer named John, who is in poor health due to the loss of his friends in the war, to the point where he is contemplating suicide. He loads the gun with bullets and commits to completing his mission, but to his good fortune his attempt fails on purpose. He goes out to get drinks and continue his agony, but shortly 2 armed thieves assault the grocery store and seize money from the owner. John continues to shop and seems unconcerned about the gunman. One of the gunmen threatens John, but John urges him to shoot him in the head so he will die quickly. When the armed robber becomes terrified, John snatches the gun from him and strikes him with it. The other thief tries to strike John with a knife, but John grabs it and hits him. Before killing him, John recalls events from his battle, so he leaves the man and returns the money that the robber stole to the owner of the grocery, then takes the alcohol and returns home. When he returns home, his psychological state is quite awful. He exercises for hours and eventually reaches a wall. The next day, John's sister Cindy pays him a visit. She informs him that she has been calling him for quite some time, but that he has not returned her calls. John apologizes to her before they head to the restaurant for supper. Cindy discovers that John is not taking antidepressants and that he has switched his prescriptions for something else. Cindy informs John that she is heading to Brazil to work for a humanitarian relief organization for those living in favelas. The following day, Cindy bids John farewell as he is sleeping and leaves. In Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, we see 2 officers inspecting the slums, but a small kid approaches them and informs Catarina that they discovered a woman on the shore. Catarina rushes to the crime scene and encounters Cindy, John's sister, who is on the verge of death. Catarina instantly summons an ambulance which transports Cindy to the hospital. 2 Brazilian officers named Tiago and Carlo enter the American embassy and inform the American ambassador named Manny of what happened to Cindy. The American ambassador contacts John and informs him of what has occurred, inviting him to join the investigation team into his sister's assault. When John learns the news, he rushes to Brazil. Catarina is working on the same case as cops Tiago and Carlo, but Tiago mocks her for providing drinks on the streets in exchange for people's assistance. Tiago apprehends the person selling weaponry, but the street gangs surround the cop. Tiago requests that the gang leader let his greatest fighter confront Tiago's best cop. He suggests that if the gang fighter wins, he would not explore this location again, but if the policeman wins, they would allow him to finish the inquiry alongside them. The gang boss agrees and dispatches one of his men to face Carlo. The fight begins between them, and Carlo is superior and capable of winning. Tiago informs them that he will probe everyone in the neighborhood at any time and from any location, because they were friends. When John arrives in Brazil, he is received by Manny. Manny drives John to the hospital where Cindy is being treated. Cindy is in a critical state and in a coma. John talks with Officer Tiago, who is investigating the matter, and then questions the officers about who would do this to his sister despite the fact that she was volunteering to aid the underprivileged. Tiago gets John into his car because he is determined to drive to the crime scene. John realizes that there are a lot of prostitutes in this neighborhood. John meets Catarina for the first time. We watch John take Catarina's revolver after hearing a burst out, but he realizes that the sound is simply a car leaving, not gunfire. When the neighborhood gangs spot John carrying a gun, they draw their weapons at him. Tiago controls the situation and orders them to calm down. John apologizes and says he's exhausted from the journey. Catarina drives John to the crime scene. Because the town is dominated by gangsters, John knows he won't be able to find witnesses to the crime. Later, when John arrives at the hospital to see his sister, he notices an Asian nurse injecting something into the medical solution. Shortly, John discovers his sister is having unusual convulsions. He goes outside to seek assistance from the nurse, but notices she's a different one. It is revealed that Cindy was injected with a chemical that caused this, according to the doctor. They also inform him that they have no idea about the nurse John saw earlier. Manny and Tiago arrive at the hospital where they meet John and inform him that there are no Asian nurses working there. Tiago informs John that he will station guards to protect Cindy. On the second day, John returns to the accident site and observes a group of young males nearby. John approaches them and attempts to speak with someone named Coca. Coca instead flees and John pursues him. He gets to him and shows him a picture of his sister and asks whether he knows her. John shortly notes that Coca is wearing his sister's necklace. When Coca refuses to speak, John punches him, but Coca's colleagues attack John, resulting into a fight. John again confronts Coca if he fails to inform him where he got Cindy's necklace. Shortly, Catarina arrives and requests John leave Coca. Then John discovers that Cindy gave the necklace to Coca and that Coca has a missing sister who used to work with Cindy. John apologizes for his earlier behavior. Coca informs John that he wishes to bring something from home for him. Coca takes John and Catarina home and offers John Cindy's diary. John apologizes once more and requests him to keep the necklace. Katerina informs John that they have recently witnessed the disappearance of numerous girls from the neighborhood. John explores the automobile, fearful that they have planted a bomb beneath it. They then leave, but the Asian girl who portrayed the hospital nurse is watching them. Later, while sitting in a pub reading Cindy's diary, John discovers a piece of paper cut out, but Cindy left a carbon in the notebook. John examines the carbon paper on a blank piece of paper and sees remnants of Cindy's writing, which is a phone number on the cut page. When he dials the number, a man who owns a photographic studio answers, and John invites him to meet him. John goes and meets this guy named Bruno. Bruno informs John that Cindy agreed with him to film her meeting with a certain person, since Cindy had learned that this person has something to do with the disappearance of females from the neighborhood. Bruno refuses to provide John with a copy of the images because he does not want to be wounded. John is aware that Bruno has the photographs in his pocket. John steals the flash drive containing the photographs without Bruno's knowledge. Bruno's car explodes after he gets into it because it had been sabotaged. When John sees the Asian girl at the scene, he realizes she is the one who murdered Bruno the photographer. John pursues her until she rides away, but shortly a car full of armed men approaches and shoots at John. John snatches a revolver from a dead security guard and shoots back, hitting some of them before they flee. John visits the embassy, where he meets Manny and sees a photograph of the man who met Cindy. They notice a nightclub's name mirrored on the car window. They head to a nightclub in search of the man who was with Cindy prior to the accident. John comes across him and notices him entering the bathroom with a bag in his hand. John pursues him, but the security guard prevents him from accessing the lavatory. John hits the security guard and enters the lavatory. John meets Lima, a smuggler, and asks him about Cindy. Lima initially refuses to respond, but John takes him through a series of tortures. Later, Lima breaks down and tells John that someone had told Cindy that Lima was smuggling. But when she came to meet him, she didn't realize that one of Lima's clients was monitoring them, and he was the one who hit Cindy. John obtains the address of the individual who assaulted his sister, and then threatens Lima if he lies to him. Tiago assembles the rest of the police officers and informs them of a liquidation operation against drug dealers and prostitution organizations. Manny follows John to the location Lima told him about in order to find out who is responsible for Cindy's attempted murder. Tiago and his colleagues are conducting gangster raids. John arrives at the location where he is supposed to discover the person who attempted to murder his sister. A girl meets him as he walks in. They contact the Asian girl who is present at the same location once they learn of his arrival. She observes John from above, recognizes him, and informs them that she does not want to irritate their master Hiramoto with this matter. She requests that they kill John softly. One of Chief Hiramoto's soldiers leads John away from the crowd to the balcony. John notices people delivering girls, including a girl named Maria who is Coca's sister. Someone approaches John from behind, attempting to strangle him, but John manages to beat him with a bag. John sneaks up and arrives at the location of the kidnapped girls. Tiago and the rest of the police are still conducting drug gang raids at this time. While pursuing a gang member, one of the cops comes across a car with two men who have kidnapped young girls. He engages them and kills one of them, then arrests an Asian person and asks Tiago for help. Tiago and Carlo arrive and discover that a gang member has been arrested by a police officer. Tiago takes a gun and points it at the Asian man, but he surprisingly killed the cop. Tiago, a revealed traitor, reminds him that because he is defending them, the money he will receive should be doubled. Tiago receives a phone call from the Asian girl, and he informs her that he has killed all of the people they agreed to kill. It is revealed that the raid was in favor of the gangsters. Tiago is told by the girl that he would receive his money at the dock. The Asian girl phones Hiramoto and notifies him that John has arrived at the location with their forged smuggling documents. Hiramoto orders her to hide all of the girls and get the guests out of the building, and he informs her that she must go to the hospital in order to murder Cindy. Hiramoto informs Tiago that John is causing a commotion. Hiramoto learns that Lima misplaced the documents that would have revealed his activities to John, so he stabs him to death. While leaving, John is surrounded, resulting in a fight. Tiago appears and orders John to submit. Adarina arrives and John informs them that Hiramoto is the one who attempted to kill Cindy and that he spotted the kidnapped girls around. When John takes them to the warehouse, they discover no girls since Hiramoto had ordered for their transfer. John informs Tiago that he has proof that Hiramoto is smuggling girls out of the country. He displays the falsified shipping statements he discovered. Tiago thanks John and takes the statements from him, saying he would look into the situation himself. Tiago requests that Katerina remove John. When John moves out, he discovers that Tiago is a traitor, since Tiago asked John to give him Lima's bag despite the fact that John had not told him about Lima. John instructs Katerina to move to the hospital in order to safeguard Cindy. Later, the Asian girl in the hospital attempts to murder Cindy. Katerina, on the other hand, arrives in time and shoots her dead instantly before her mission. Tiago rushes to the port to collect the money, but John is hiding in his car's trunk. John notices that the gang is moving the females via containers and are preparing to transport and sell the girls in Japan. John phones Manny and requests his assistance, as well as informing him that Tiago is working with Hiramoto. When Hiramoto discovers that John has arrived, he orders all of his men to hunt him down, and Hiramoto himself joins the hunt. A fight soon breaks out. Combat is reduced to a one-on-one with Hiramoto, who wields the sword. Then John goes to Tiago, who is about to die, and takes a key to a safe in a train station from him. Tiago promises John that he will find the names of everyone who works for Hiramoto. Tiago reveals to John that he was working with Hiramoto to help his family get out of poverty. Then he asks John to kill him, but John leaves a gun with one bullet and walks out, only to hear a gunshot indicating that Tiago has committed himself. When the police arrive at the station, they free all of the kidnapped girls, including. The next day, John goes to see his sister in the hospital, whose condition has begun to improve. However, the doctor informs John that it will be a long time before she is able to walk. John then goes to see Manny, who offers him an unofficial position with the administration. John first refuses, but agrees after Manny informs him that the government will cover Cindy's medical expenses. Manny hands John the file on the first operation, bringing the movie to the end. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.